Hey guys, Miss Biz here with another video. Today's video is going to help you with days 18 and 19 for reading this week. Today is day 18, and for day 18, you're going to get to read a fun text called The Worm Turns. Okay, just like you did earlier this week, you're going to have 8 questions that go along with this. So read the questions first before you read the text. Then as you are reading, try to answer the questions. For each question that you're on, cross off answers that don't make sense, use good strategies, pick the right one. Questions 1 through 6 are multiple choice. Questions 7 and 8 are a constructive response that you can answer on separate lined paper. The first one asks, what is Willie's big problem of the story and how does it get solved? That's going to be the climax and the resolution of the story. What is the biggest problem and how does that problem get solved? Number 8 is asking, how was Mandy changed by the end of the story? How has Mandy changed? So the character of Mandy, how is she different at the end of the story than she was at the beginning? Make sure you give some good text evidence and details from the story to answer that question. So that's it for today. That's pretty simple. Now, just like we did elements of poetry this week and elements of drama this week, we're going to do elements of prose too. I know prose is the one that you're most familiar with, but I'm still going to make sure that you know the elements and you can identify those elements. So here we go. Elements of prose. Prose is anything that's not a poem or a drama. So the majority of the things that we're reading in school this year are prose, okay? Picture books, chapter books, textbooks, things on a website. Most of that is prose. Prose can be fiction and it can be nonfiction, meaning it can be factual, true, or it can be made up. There's always a purpose in prose, a reason that the author is writing. That purpose could be to persuade the readers, try to convince them to do something. When we write opinion pieces, that's what we're doing. We're persuading. Informing, you could be teaching them something, like when we do informational pieces. And entertaining them is really just to help them enjoy what they're reading. A lot of what we've read this year has been, in fiction at least, to entertain. Now, dialogue, you should be familiar with. Those are those quotation marks that show what the characters are saying. There are sentences, paragraphs, and chapters, in prose. All stories in prose have characters in them. We've done this earlier this year, guys. Points of view. It's the perspective the story is told from. A prose can be written in first person, third person. We also know it could be second, but we don't really work with that in 4th grade. Prose has a plot. It has a rising action, climax, falling action, resolution, all those elements of plot. It has a lesson or a theme, and it can create mental pictures in your brain. So it's almost like as you're reading, you're having a mental TV show or movie going across your brain. Now, with the story that you're reading this week, The Worm Turns, I'm going to want you to reread that the second day, and you're going to do this. Circle one example of dialogue. So somewhere that characters are speaking, okay, and there are quotation marks, you're going to circle that to show me that you know what dialogue is. I can give you a little example of that. Right here, where in this different story, Mars Needs Guitars, it says, hey, weren't you on that pop singer show? The girl asked. That's what the girl is saying. That's dialogue, so you could circle that right there. Next, it says to name 2 character traits of Willie and give evidence. Now, we know what character traits are, and you guys are great at those. Things on the inside that help me to understand who the character is. So name 2 of them that Willie has and give me evidence. If Willie is kind, give me evidence of how you know Willie is kind. The next question is, what point of story is this in? Is this in first person? Is this in third person? Whoever it is that's telling the story, whether it's a narrator or a character in the story, tell me that and tell me how you know that. What are those little bits of evidence that help you to know? Remember first person, guys. Okay. Remember that first person is when a person is telling the story that is in the story. So a character inside the story is saying I, me, my, we. And third person would be a character from outside the story, a narrator. The last question says, what is the theme of this story and how do you know? We know theme. And you can even use that question yesterday about how the character changed to help you know what is the theme of this story? What is the lesson that the character learned and how do you know? That's NTI Days 18 and 19. I hope this was helpful and I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later.